IELTS Speaking Part 3.
Topic: Retirement and Old Age. Question 1. At what age should people retire from work? Why do you think so?
If it were me, I would choose to retire at an early age, with the required financial security, of course, primarily because it would allow me to do and enjoy the things when I would still remain healthy and active, both mentally and physically. Besides, the issue of the retirement age becomes a bit irrelevant as long as someone is enjoying his or her works/activities, unless, of course, a company or organization has the policy of enforcing a strict deadline for retirement. Anyway, ideally, if a person enters his career at the age of 25 and spends his time wisely and efficiently, then he should be good to retire at 50, which would allow him a good 10 years to enjoy his life before starting to consider him as a senior citizen at an age of 60.
Question 2. What problems can people face after their retirement?
It all depends on how people choose to face retirement. However, people usually face two major problems after their retirement. One is related to finance, and the other one is health, both physical and mental. We all know that once people retire, they usually struggle to meet their financial needs, since the source of a steady income dries up. Besides, they also suffer from health-related issues because they become physically old and inactive. Now, of course, we can debate whether one feels old because of becoming physically inactive or become physically inactive because of getting old. But one thing is for sure, that their mental health deteriorate rapidly because they feel that they are not useful for their families and society anymore.
Question 3. How important are retirees to your country's economy? Why or why not?
The retirees are considered to be an important component of my country's economy, primarily because they help keep our economy running by saving their money, little by little, which then, in turn, get used by our government for different kind of development works. Besides, many retirees in my country just don't sit idle, and instead choose to use their wealth of past work experiences to generate some incomes for themselves and their families, which certainly contribute to the growth of our economy. However, some will argue that the retirees are some kind of drag down for our economy because they collect money from the government, but they forget that it's their money, and the government is just supposed to manage them.
Question 4. When should you start saving for retirement?
Well, the act of saving for retirement should start as soon as people start to earn, ideally speaking, of course. But unfortunately, we are not exactly living in an ideal world where our all financial needs are met just the way we like. Therefore, saving sometimes can be the last thing in our minds which we really worry about. Besides, when we are young, we tend to be carefree, and we also want to enjoy our lives to the fullest by spending whatever money we have. As a result, we can't, more often than not, really save any money despite our best efforts and intention when we are young and restless. Nevertheless, saving should always be a priority for us, and as such, we should get on it as soon as it is convenient for us.
Question 5. Why do some companies encourage early retirement?
Some companies encourage early retirement for a number of reasons. For example, they may want to make rooms for younger candidates with fresh and more dynamic ideas. Some companies also would encourage early retirement because they want to cut costs by getting rid of highly paid employees. Finally, some companies promote early retirement also because they have hit their financial goals, and that they are not expecting any more growth for their companies. However, these kinds of early retirement are not necessarily so bad because they usually involve good financial incentives.
Question 6. Do you think the state should take responsibility for retirees who worked in private companies rather than government organization?
Yes, the state should have a responsibility in taking care of retirees of the private companies in some capacity, primarily because they also contribute to the economy of a country. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that the private retirees are also paid by the government, just like the government retirees. But rather, the government should extend its helping hands to private company retirees also in order to ensure a minimally secured financial future for them should the private companies fail to do so. After all, it is also the responsibility of the government to encourage, if not force, the private companies to take care of their retirees in whichever capacity they can afford.
This concludes IELTS Speaking Part 3. Thank you for listening.